G'day guys. In today's video, I'm going to just do a quick debrief on how I broke the sub 40 barrier after 3 years of training and what finally worked and what clicked, and have a bit of a reflection on the training plan that I put in place to make that happen. The whole purpose of today's video is to just document what did I do well. Now, this is the first time in 3 years of doing this thing that a training plan has worked for me and I've achieved the goals that I set out to achieve. I know it's important to learn from your mistakes, but it's also important to learn from your successes as well. Before I start, I just want to put a little bit of context together for anybody who hasn't watched these videos from the start. I set up a training plan. It was a 9-week training plan that was broken up into 3-week cycles. The 3-week cycles were 2 weeks build, 1 week down. So what worked in that training plan? Well, the biggest thing that worked is the specificity. I went in with really specific intentions and really specific goals and really specific needs that I wanted to address. There were really 3 of them. First one was increasing my ability to run at 4-minute pace for more than 6Ks. I went into it being able to run at that pace for 6Ks quite easily, but then it was in the 7th K that I always fell apart. So I just needed to increase my ability to run at that pace. I didn't need to get any faster over the 5K. So all of my workouts were targeted at building my aerobic threshold.
410 to 420 pace. Let's lock in, let's go.
That is the system that you try to build to try and run at that pace for longer. So that specificity worked in this case. The other thing, structuring it in a specific way that I know works for me. Most people in their training plans do 3 weeks build, 1 week down, 3 weeks build, 1 week down. That's a fairly typical cycle that I've found doesn't work for me. I'm obviously a little bit too soft, and so I needed to go 2 weeks, 1 week. That's what worked for me. So that's a really important learning, and it worked really, really well in this training plan. There are a couple of times where I've gotten myself into a little bit of trouble, started to get towards, starting to feel a bit of soreness, a few niggles here and there. But what was great was when that happened, I had a down week the next week, so I took that time and recovered. And the third thing that I needed to work on specifically was my weight and my diet, and I did that. And that is the second thing that worked really well. To put it into context, from the start of the year to now, I've lost over 7 kilos. I went from 92 kilos down to 85. How I did it, again, it comes back to the specificity. I'm someone who likes to be precise and works really well with a lot of data and precise goals. So I started tracking my kilojoule intake for the first time ever and did it religiously for, I think, a month to 6 weeks. I didn't do it the whole training plan, but I did it for about a month, where I tracked everything I was putting into my body compared to how much energy I was using during the day. I also did daily weigh-in. What that tracking meant was that I was able to make specific changes that were specific to me. There were 2 things that I did. First one, I noticed that I was consuming way too many calories in my breakfast smoothie, so I got rid of that and changed that to porridge. Second thing I figured out was that I was trying to do my best and trying to lose weight, and part of that was often if I felt hungry, like after dinner, I felt like I needed dessert or something like that, I'd go, no, stop, don't be a pig, don't eat dessert, just go to bed. And I'd go to bed hungry. And what I found, and through the tracking, and this was confirmed through all the tracking and the weighing in and stuff that I did, was that was putting me in too big a deficit. So I would do that a couple of days in a row, and then I'd have this huge deficit. So I would absolutely gorge myself because I was starving and I needed that fuel. So I ended up eating more throughout the training plan to help me lose more weight. It doesn't really make sense, but it worked. There's a lot of talk around there about tracking kilojoules and daily weigh-ins and all that sort of stuff, but that's what worked for me. So If you can't find what works for you, hey, give it a try, see if it works. I don't track my kilojoules every day anymore. I've lost 7 kilos. I would still like to lose a little bit more to run faster. And so early on in training plans, I'm going to go back to tracking kilojoules and weighing my food and just seeing how much I'm actually putting in my body to make sure I'm still making smart choices and doing the right things. Third thing that worked really, really well was a strength and activation routine that I implemented for almost every run. This came about from a conversation with a friend, Jono. We were talking about strength and activations and all that sort of stuff. And he said, here's my strength routine that he was given from his coach. Basically, at the start of every run, it's a 5 to 7 minute strength routine. Consists of 8 glute bridges either side, 8 runners arabesques either side, and then 8 reverse lunges. Simple, easy, gets the legs switched on and ready to move, but also you can feel yourself in there. It's switching on all the muscles, but you can feel yourself getting stronger as you do it. What I found by doing that, it was simple enough that I could do it every time, almost every time. What I noticed was when I didn't do it, the run didn't feel good at the start, whereas when I did do it, my legs felt like they were ready to move and they were open and they were free, and felt like I really nailed those runs. So that encouraged me to do it more often. And by doing it every day, my strength in my legs increased. It was this compounding effect. So what didn't work? Well, if you followed along with the series, you know that 3 weeks out from the race, I moved into this brand new house, which is a wonderful, wonderful space. And I'm incredibly lucky to be here, but it really didn't help my running. I lost 3 weeks of training pretty much. All I could do during that phase was go for the occasional jog, maybe every second day, and just try and maintain the fitness that I'd built in the first 6 weeks. I have absolutely no doubt that I would have gone under 38 minutes if I'd done that last 3 weeks of training. But that being said, I couldn't, so I didn't. Just going to let a plane go past. Coffee. What I also found was the work that I was doing when we moved in. Like, you move into a new house, there's no blinds, there's no fences, there's a lot of landscaping stuff. You got to move boxes, you got to put up like there's all this work to do that you don't think about, and that is, for someone as soft as me who works in an office every day, that work is hard, and that work, it's hard on your body, and when you're not used to it, you end up really sore, and so that impacts your running as well. The other thing, I got way too excited by the World Cross Country Championships. I got so inspired and I desperately wanted to get out there and train for cross country and run cross country. And when I say train for cross country, that means you just train over hills all the time. And I've done that before and become really, really strong doing it. But the part that I forgot about when I did that before, when I ran on rolling hills every single day, was that I didn't pay enough attention to my recovery, and I ended up hurting my hip. And I got a rude awakening very quickly when I ran too many hills too soon. So I do need to bring the hills in, and I do need to let myself be inspired by cross country and train like I'm training for cross country. I need to do it smart. I need to remember to recover. Moving forward, what am I taking into my next training block as I train for the Noosa Runaway Half Marathon at the end of May? 3-week cycles is going to be really important. It's what works for me. Second thing, I need to do my activation strength routine every single run. If I don't do it, I don't feel good. And I sit there 500 meters in the run, oh, you didn't do your activations, you idiot. And now you feel like garbage. Last thing I'm going to continue is some of the work on my diet. I've still got work to go in that area. And so early on in the training plan, I'll start tracking my kilojoule intake again, tracking my weight daily, and just making sure that I'm making the right decisions and making the right calls with the food that I'm eating and when I'm eating it. Up next, Noosa Half Marathon, 7-week training plan. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all your kind words on the race video as well. I really appreciate that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks very much. Bye.